But something that might be stopping very soon, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it, is Russell Brand's career might be stopping very soon because the way things are going for him right now doesn't sound too good. And it's all legend. It's all legend. It's all legend. So we don't really know what happened until we get further into it.
It's all legend. I was
it's
like,
all
wait,
legend.
what?
It's all legend. The legend of Russell Brand. No. But Russell Brand has been accused now. Man, let's get serious for a second. He's been accused of rape, sexual assault, emotional abuse. Now, this came forward over the weekend. Now, apparently, it's a joint investigation with the Times of London and also with Channel 4's documentary team Dispatches. Now, Dispatches actually put out a whole documentary over the weekend. It's 90 minutes. They aired it on Saturday night, and they had a bunch of women come forward in that saying that he had abused them. And then I guess they sent him a letter, and then he got at it right away on YouTube because he's huge on YouTube right now and put a whole thing out there being like, hey, this is absolutely just wrong. He refutes the whole thing. He's saying it's not true. But the 5 women, they said 4 of whom asked to remain anonymous. But there was one that was like, I guess she was 16 years old, and he would call her the child. It was like, I'm like, what? You would call her the child. But Brand apparently, well, she allegedly says that Brand assaulted her when she was 16 and he was in his 30s during a 3-month emotionally and sexually abusive relationship that included one incident. And everybody, I hate to say this, where he forced his penis down her throat and also caused her to choke. And then one time where apparently they were having sexual relations, he apparently took the condom off without her letting know. And then apparently he was calling her the child. So this was going on for a while. Apparently his agent knew about it. That's allegedly, but that's deeper down a rabbit hole. There was also a second woman said that he raped her at his home in Los Angeles back in 2012. A third one said she was working with him in LA and he sexually assaulted her at his West Hollywood house. And then he threatened her if she goes to the cops that he would blackmail her. And then a 24-year-old runner claimed Brand once flashed his penis at her and she didn't like it. And then he said, don't you want to give him oral sex? And so the list goes on and on. There's even like Brand's professional personal assistant, Helen Berger, said that, a bunch of people, he was sharing pictures of naked women with people and he was putting it out there and laughing and making jokes about it. And a female comedian actually said at one point that he would bite her when he saw her with different men.
Face, yeah,
bite her in the face. So this has been something going on. He just did a whole event at the Troubadour Weebly Park Theater and people were cheering when he was saying that, this is all wrong. And he actually postponed his remaining dates of his comedy tour because of all this. And of course, his agent dropped him. So a lot has happened with Russell Brand right now. And of course, there are allegations. We have no idea. This was a time in his life where he said that he was more promiscuous. He had a bunch of issues happening at that time. He was very sexual right there. And he said everything was, within everybody, it was all consensual, he said. But let's watch this little video. I have a little clip of him before we get into it. But here's what Russell Brand had to say about the whole situation.
I've received 2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies. And as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of. And we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean my voice along with your voice.
So he's kind of twisting it too, saying that it's the news media kind of coming after him, maybe too, refuting all the allegations, saying it's completely wrong. It's just a lot for him, because he has been blowing up on YouTube ever since COVID, I would say. And of course, he does push conspiracy theories sometimes, but he also does, I think, have some good points at times about things too. So I've listened to some of his YouTube videos as well, and he's been taken off, and he goes to Rumble and comes back. So he's had some hate, of course, when you do this. He's got like 6 million followers, though, that are actually listening to him. I don't know. Can it be a conspiracy theory, Sabrina? Is that what this is? Or do you think there might actually be? I mean, we don't really know what happened behind closed doors, but do you think there's a conspiracy theory to take him down?
No, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. And I think it's wildly ridiculous for you to try to say that to people, because they are going to take that seriously. And it's just going to fuel the division of our country. I'm really upset that you're politicizing the fact that you're rapey. Like, that's not nice or cool. And I'm not saying that as a fact, but there are and have been, aside from this instance, way back when, many issues with him and his, forwardness or exposing himself or saying fucked up shit, like saying to some guy he was interviewing that he would send his assistant naked to his room, or as you mentioned, the runner who went to his room and he flashed his dick and said, maybe put it in your mouth. Like, I don't understand how any of that's okay. I also obviously innocent until proven guilty.
Oh, yes.
And you need to see what kind of evidence there is. But one of the girls has text messages from after it happened saying, when a girl says no, it means no. And his reply was, "I'm sorry." So that's pretty damning, if you ask me. The same girl also went to a rape treatment center and had her, was treated for being raped. So I don't, that doesn't seem like it was made up at all to me. Also, the 16-year-old girl who he allegedly groomed for a long period of time. Also, one of the things that he used to make her do was read passages from Lolita. And Lolita, for those who are not familiar, is a book about a middle-aged man having a predatory relationship with a 12-year-old. So that seems pretty fucking fucked up, if you ask me. There's a difference between being promiscuous and being a, misogynistic, narcissistic person who thinks that like anyone who comes across your path wants to fucking sit on your cock, because that's just not a fucking thing.
But we don't really, the thing is, like, he was saying that it was always consensual, though. I mean, the thing is, I just don't buy the whole conspiracy thing. I think there is probably more. Then again, like, who knows what he was doing? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll at that point in his career. And he was pretty big at that point. So but Sabrina, you're right. There's all these people, the text messaging. There's a lot of stuff that makes you wonder, really. And of course, they haven't gotten to the court of law yet, but we'll see.
And these are only the people that were in this documentary on Channel 4 in London. Channel 4, yeah. Like, that's not, that's just, these people that they got to go on record and say that about. And they, like, one person has filed, since that came out, a report with the police in London, that they are saying that they had an issue with him as well. But like, honestly, I don't understand how you can go on record and say that they're trying to take you down because you talk against the mainstream media. Like, so you think that these girls who don't know each other, who are from different walks of life and are different ages and knew you in different countries, all decided, let's take him down because he's really popular on YouTube? Like, come up with a better excuse, man. Like, I don't understand. And again, promiscuity doesn't mean that no doesn't mean no. So.
Yeah, I mean, if that stuff's true, and they bring forward that evidence where they're saying like it was like saying no, and then you shouldn't be doing this. I mean, I feel like
she said no means no, and he said I'm sorry in a text message. Yeah. Like, I don't really know how else you can interpret that.
There's also people are trying to say online too, like, so many women are throwing themselves at him that of course he would never rape anybody, and I'm like, we don't really know.
No, the problem is because so many women are throwing themselves at him, he thinks he can fuck anyone he fucking wants to. That's the fucking problem.
That's a massive
So
problem.
the one person who says no, he's like, no, I don't think so. Everyone wants to fuck me. Like it's the narcissism that comes with being famous that some people don't know how to handle. And I don't think he's that way anymore. He's married. I hope that he is a different person, but in my personal opinion, like, I don't think that these 5 women who don't know each other all came up with a story somehow and decided, like, let's do this to him right now because he's popular on YouTube. That just seems wildly ridiculous and far-fetched. And I feel like it's just trying to sow that seed of doubt with his followers, which is quite a few people, and try to like basically pass the buck. Like, I don't, and just being like, I admitted that I was promiscuous is not the same thing as admitting that you did things that people didn't want you to do to them.
No, weird. Yeah, I agree, Sabrina. It's just, I think there's a lot more we have to find out. He did jump on this grenade right away.
Of course. Why wouldn't you? You have to get ahead of a story.
Yeah.
Watch any episode of Scandal.
Yep.
And you know that you have to beat the press to it. So before this even happened, he had made the statement, and they had the documentary had released like the transcript of it. So a lot of people that watched it had already read the transcript and had already seen his statement before the documentary was even watched. Which is, that's the way you get in front of a headline. It's a news cycle situation like that. It happens all the time.
You have to. Only time will tell what actually happens with Russell Brand in this situation. I feel like I think this will affect everything, and I think he's trying to jump on it by saying that it's a conspiracy against him. But
I really don't think it will affect everything unless he goes to jail.
Yeah. Well, he's only delaying his tour right now. His agent did drop him, and it was big news all over the cycle. So I don't know what's going to happen.
His agent also said that he knew about it, or like the girl
back
called him or something.
Right?
Yeah, like so he had knowledge of it, but he said that Russell Brand basically like snowballed him and like made him think that it was all a lie or whatever. Like, however, he pulled the wool over his eyes is what the agent said. And now that like all this has come to light, that he dropped him. If he is innocent, I'm sorry, just doesn't look good for you, man. Doesn't look good.
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. Doesn't look good at all. And I just say, like, it's going to take some time for it to all work out again. They sent him paperwork, and this was just the initial story came out. All these women are being anonymous for the most part, and then it just seems like there's more and more coming forward. But this has been happening in the news. We got Danny Masterson, it happened to him. Now he's put away for 30 years to life. And, there's the Jonathan Majors thing still up in the air. We have no idea what's happening with that. Of course, that's abuse, so that's a little different. But I don't know. But I think that end of the day, we have to wait for the information. We have to see the evidence. And
the thing is that people think that it's easy for a victim like that to come forward and do that. And it's fucking not. Yeah. It's not easy. So people are like, why'd you wait so long? Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you go to cops? There's like a stigma attached to that. And it's not easy. And it's not easy to even admit to yourself what happened. And like, what did you do to make that happen? Or what could you have done to change the result? Like, that's not fucking fair to put on somebody who literally did nothing wrong except for exist. Yeah. And people are like, well, what were you wearing? Fuck you, dude. I don't care what the fuck I was fucking wearing. It's not okay. So like, people try to victim shame and put blame on victims or people who were in a situation with their boss or with a coworker or whatever the fuck, and it's not fucking okay. So if he's innocent, fine. Sorry. I find that people are like into the vibe of not listening to what people who have been abused are saying, and that makes it harder for them to speak out.
Yeah, there's a lot of allegations though, Sabrina. A lot of allegations. I think he had a rude awakening this weekend when he woke up to all this. So it's tough because he's a comedian too. So like, people are saying that maybe they're twisting his words. People look at him, whatever he's saying, they're taking it out of context. There's that out there too. Like, I don't know, Mark. What do you think? Do you think that this is a conspiracy against Russell Brand? It's a sad day for anybody that's a fan of his, that's been watching on his YouTube. Or what do you think's happening here?
I don't know. My initial reaction is when it comes to like sexual assault, I think he wears it well. I kind of feel like there's celebrities who are gonna be know him, but this guy, I'm kind of like I could kind of see it. He was an ex-sex addict, and he had all sorts of crazy stories about like women and stuff. Like in my head, I'm like, I can kind of see this being like a real. And it even sounded like he's saying, "Oh, some of it was real, but I've already admitted to it in the past," or something like that. Which is
Yeah.
yeah.
He's like, but they were fine with it
It's
though.
weird,
I did
right?
that stuff, but
But
they were
yeah,
fine with it.
I can believe it.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think,
Also, if it's a coordinated media attack,
yeah,
I
you
was
think it
saying
could
if
be?
it is, I don't feel like he was like white hot right now or anything.
Yeah, I mean,
You
I
know,
feel like
I feel like there's
during
people
COVID, I
continue
think he
to
was
try to make
bigger.
him giant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
during
yeah. I
COVID.
feel like typically something like that, if it happens, would be at like height, like when you're kind of like this big, very talked about sensation. And I feel like he's kind of low key right now. It just feels like, a lot of people probably didn't even know that he's even doing like a lot of this stuff. So
It's
I don't know.
very,
It
it's
just
very weird
feels
timing.
sus.
Suspect. It does seem a
Yeah,
little
like actually
suspect.
the Joe Rogan thing kind of makes it, because it was
Yeah.
so huge.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Yeah, you're right. And Joe Rogan, like, he never falls out, it seems like, but he was, especially at that time, super big. Everyone was listening to him, everything he said, that he was even the fact, like, I'm not a doctor,
Yeah.
but he would start saying that kind of stuff because he knew everybody was listening to him. I mean, how many millions of people, a lot more than Russell Brand, not to knock his millions, but I'm just saying, it seems suspect. It seems like the allegations are stacking up against him. So we'll keep you posted as it kind of revs up. It's very early on this news, everybody. Big news for Russell Brand fans out there. And hopefully, if it's true, hopefully the women get some kind of retribution here. I mean, we'll see what happens with it. They're all allegations. We won't know until they go to court.